Hello again, guys. I've been getting a lot of questions about LLC and starting a business, tax exemptions, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about why, because I keep explaining in the comments why I'm doing it. Do people need it? All these things. Here's just a video people can go to hear me talk about it and kind of just spill my thoughts. So I did early on start an LLC, and the way I did that was I went to my state's website, which is Kansas, and to actually get a little bit more accurate, I just Googled Kansas LLC or Kansas business, whatever. Like normally you can find it just by Googling your state and then starting an LLC or business forms or whatever. Anyway, I went there. You basically just have to navigate to wherever that website is. I'm sure it's different for every state. And then you just, I guess, come up with a name. I remember I had to come up with a name. It doesn't really matter what that name is because it's not like you're going to have a storefront. It's not like you're going to have a big sign over a building in your doorway that people need to recognize with a logo or anything. I just came up with a random name that I think is kind of universal that I could, if I for some reason did want to grow this later, it's general enough that I could drop ship on any platform I wanted to, or even just do online sales. Like it could be used for anything if I wanted to change ideas later. So that's what I did. It on my website, at least, it lets you enter in a name and then it basically runs it through their system and says if it's already taken, just like a normal website would do for a username, but it only has to not be taken in your state. So somebody in the next state over could have the same exact business name as me and it'd be fine, from what I understand. But then once it says it's all good to go, there's like little radio buttons and you just select what type of business formation you want, because there's sole proprietorship, there's partnerships, there's LLC, corporations, all the little versions of a business you've ever heard of. I do LLC because it's like the most common. I mean, there's a reason you hear about it. It is the most common business formation for small businesses. And the whole point behind it is that in theory, if somebody were to sue they could only sue the assets of that business if they were doing business with you. So like they couldn't go after my house or my car or any of my personal bank accounts. They could only go after what is tied to my LLC and the assets within that. So to think about it a little simpler, because I know the LLC thing can be scary because people are like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't want to start a business. Like that sounds so complicated. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff you got to do, like, depending on how you're setting it up. Quarterly, you might have to go on your state's website and like I do and just put that if you have any sales tax that you did, which is something I'm still figuring out. I've already started it and I haven't even figured that out yet. My other business that I have, I do that quarterly and I just have to put that I haven't had any sales tax. It's like a couple buttons and I hit submit and then I do it again in 4 months. So it's really not a big deal, but you don't have to have that with this drop shipping on Facebook Marketplace. You don't have to. I just did it for a couple future benefits that I plan on or just want to have ready if I make some decisions later. Like if I want to drop ship on Amazon or Walmart or eBay and I actually want to sell on those platforms, I just think it'll be easier to have these things under a business name. Also, if you're like, ooh, well, I don't want to get sued, I should definitely start an LLC. Well, right now I can't even tie my LLC to my Facebook account. That you're still selling on Facebook as an individual, and I don't have verification or not whether or if somebody were to buy something from me on Facebook, like let's say I sold like a hoverboard or something. I have not listed those, but let's say that's the case. And somebody fell and hurt themselves. Could they sue me? I don't know. If they did, would my LLC protect me? I'm not real sure. I can totally see why maybe it wouldn't, because I sold under my personal name and they didn't actually send money to my business. So there's not really a connection saying my business sold anything to them. So I'm not getting it just for that and like putting all my eggs in that basket. I'm just having it for future sake. Also, having a business let me then navigate over to the IRS website so that I could get a tax ID number or an EIN. It's got several different names you might find on different forms. And why would I do that? Well, I wanted a tax ID number so that I could also open up a business bank account if I wanted to. Again, I don't think you necessarily have to open up a business bank account. You could just open up a separate personal checking account and probably just run all your PayPal payouts through there. But I just wanted to, and I've said this so many times now, I wanted to separate all of my PayPal payouts from Facebook out of my personal checking account with my wife and I. Because we handle our money so specifically that I don't need a bunch of payouts coming once a day or whatever and kind of messing that up. I'd rather those just all dump into one account where I don't even have to move them. And then I can pay off credit cards from there that I use for this or whatever. And also later, when I eventually hand this over to my accountant next year, I'd rather everything just be clean and in its own place and organized. And that's one of the main reasons I did it. I started an LLC so that I could get a tax ID number, so that I could open up a business account. And that was the main purpose. But also, the tax ID lets me, if I want to, future planning again. We all use Walmart, Amazon, eBay. Those are like the main bottom three that we all use as beginners. But the people selling on those platforms just are basically doing what we are doing, but they're getting things from wholesale suppliers. So if you saw one of my videos where I talk about the top 5 items I sold that month, that top item that I told you guys, they probably just buy that for like half the price from a wholesaler. And then they sell it on Amazon. You and I buy that off Amazon and then sell that for like twice the price. And we're just one extra step in that thing. And then the wholesaler will buy, probably buy the same product or at least the materials to make the product or whatever from another even cheaper source. So it's just slowly, that's just how selling stuff works. So it would be cool, right, if you had a tax ID number and then you could actually buy straight from the wholesaler and drop ship from them, because there are wholesalers that have drop shipping programs where you're just bypassing Amazon and Walmart altogether. I haven't started that yet, but I've looked a little bit into it, and I know I'm probably ready to start doing that. But now my day-to-day, when it comes to fulfilling orders, my normal work, my everyday life, and making sure I get videos up, it's slowly getting to the point where I have less and less time to do those extra things. So I'm refocusing so I can learn those things for you guys and then report them back like I was originally. So that's my plan. But moving on to wholesale dropshipping is a big step up. And you don't have to do it. Retail dropshipping is the, sell dropshipping from online retailers, like what we all do. But wholesale dropshipping is just a different level. So it's just all based on, if you want to develop this more. There's a chance I might want to develop this more as a business in the future. But right now it's side hustle, and that's totally okay. If you guys just are doing this for a little bit of a side hustle to have a tiny bit of extra income, and tiny could mean $50 a month, tiny could mean $1,000 a month. It's just whatever you need. But there are some people who would make thousands of dollars a month, and a lot of the time it's because they've taken these little upgraded steps. But some people don't want the responsibility of that, because if you are doing that, you're going to be working a lot more, especially if you're dropshipping through Facebook. So what is the other benefit that I had for tax ID numbers? That's right. Tax exemptions. A lot of you guys have asked me about that. I've only started dabbling in that. I have tax exemptions in most of the 50 states in Amazon, which is why I've primarily switched to Amazon, especially now that we can get around the TBA tracking number problem. That's also another video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to look at my videos and check that out. It's like TBA tracking. But I buy off Amazon now because most of the states are tax exempt. So when I buy something, I don't pay the sales tax, because Facebook already takes the sales tax from the customer from their state and then remits it on your behalf, and then they give you a tax form at the end of the year. So if that's happening and you're paying sales tax when you buy the item, sales tax being taken twice, and it's cutting into your profit margins, and that's, eating some of your profits. So most of the time I don't have to pay sales tax anymore, only on Amazon though. You can do it on Walmart, you can do it on eBay, and I've tried on both and I just haven't gotten it on both yet because I kind of half-assed it. But that's my plan. I need to just go back in and do it. There's a universal tax exemption sheet that you can just Google, like Google universal tax exempt form, and you fill that out. And you have to go to your personal state that you have your tax ID number in and get a reseller tax exemption form. So you can also Google, like Kansas reseller tax exemption, and then it will bring up something that you'll have to fill out with all your business info. And you have to fill out a form for each website. So if I wanted to do it for Amazon, I got to have one that I said this is specifically for Amazon, and then I have to refill it out if I want to do it for Walmart, and refill it out if I want to do it for eBay, because you have to put their corporate information in there too. So I do plan on creating something. I don't know if it'll be a PDF, if it'll just be a series of videos, what it'll be. But hopefully it's just easy enough for you guys to swallow and take the information so that you can also get tax exempt, because it is really nice. Even though I'm not even completely tax exempt, I'm just partially. But that's another huge reason to get a tax ID, in my opinion. Technically, you can get a tax ID without starting a business too, I'm pretty sure. So, and at that point, it's just because you're like a sole proprietor. Starting an LLC in my state cost $166. It's $160 and then a $6 like processing fee. So I waited until I sold enough products to cover that cost, and then I did it. And I like it that way. I still have a lot to figure out and a lot to grow when it comes to that, but that's kind of why I wanted to start an LLC. It's because I don't know where this is going to take me. But you don't have to start one. You don't have to do any of the stuff I just said. You can simply go and chug along as you've been going and do it all just normal. It's totally okay. You might spend a little more money in the long run because of taxes. You might, not grow as much down the road, but you don't necessarily need to if that's not your thing either. I just know that there's potential in the future for it to grow if I want it to. So I'm just laying those foundations now so that later when I want to jump on it, I can. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of sit and talk about that. I've gotten a lot of questions. I did do I did do a YouTube live video the other day, and quite a few people jumped on there, and I answered questions for like 45 minutes, I think. And I really loved doing that. If you guys do want more of those, just let me know in the comments. I think that'd be super cool. I like those because I don't have to really think about what I'm talking about. I just answer your guys' questions. I kind of want to do one today, but I don't know if that's weird to upload a video and do a live in the same day. It's probably not like smart, but yeah, if you haven't already, give this video a like. Helps me out a ton. If you like my stuff, just like the video. I love it. I always appreciate those. Every once in a while I keep getting a dislike. If you dislike my video, at least tell me why. Comment me or email me even. My email is always in the description of these videos. That way I can know like why you hated it, what I can do better in the future, or if you heard something that you disagree with. That way I can address that too. So thank you guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would love that. I try to make videos like this where I just casually talk to you about things, and I'm flirting with more videos where I screen capture, but then I have to blur so much stuff out with this kind of stuff because of people's personal information that I prefer to just keep it just talking at the camera like this. But I appreciate all of you guys that watch. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.